Alright guys, today we're going to talk about solving one-step equations. This should be a review for you, so we're going to go over some of the basics here. First of all, how to solve a one-step equation. You need to make sure you always solve by doing the opposite operation. So if it says add, you need to subtract. If it says subtract, you need to add. Same thing with multiplication, you got to make sure you're always doing the opposite. And you need to make sure you always solve by performing the same operation on both sides of the equation. The reason for this is because in future courses in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, your problems are going to get so long that if you don't know how to solve on both sides of the equal sign, it's going to cause problems. So, sorry guys, no more doing work in your head. I need to see all the steps. So let's look at a couple of problems here. In the first problem, I have b plus 3 9/10 equals 0 7/10. Well, here's my equal sign. It's almost like a road there. And I see that I'm adding 3 9/10 to b. My ultimate goal here is to get the variable, in this case the b, by itself. It says I'm adding 3 9/10, so I want to subtract 3 9/10. Why? Because a positive 3 9/10 and a negative 3 9/10 gives me 0. Well, if I'm subtracting from one side, I need to subtract from the other side of the equal sign. Now, as I said, a positive 3.9 and a negative 3.9 is actually going to get me 0. So I would have b plus 0 here. Now, do I really need that b plus 0? No, I can just put b. But now I can add my 3.9 and my 0.7. However, notice it's a negative 3.9, so I actually need to subtract. 9 minus 7 is going to get me 2. 3 minus 0 is going to get me 3. Bring down my decimal, because you line up the dot and give it all you got. The 3 9/10 is bigger, so it's actually going to be a negative answer. Now let's look at the second problem. X minus 18 equals 36 6/10. Again, I'm going to kind of draw my road for my equal sign so that I know I have to do something on both sides. It says minus 18, so I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to add 18. Make sure you line up the dot, and when there's no decimal, it's always at the end of the number because I don't want to change my number. I can add a 0 if that helps. Now, a negative 18 and a positive 18 gives me 0, so that would be the same as x plus 0, but x plus 0 is just x. A lot of your elementary teachers would have taught you something like this where they cancel each other out. Now, 36 6/10 and 18 are both positive, so we add them together. 6 plus 0 is 6. Line up your dot. 6 plus 8 is 14. Carry 1, and then that gives us 5. So our final answer there is x equals 54 6/10. Let's take a look at two more equations. Here I have x minus a negative 18 equals 24. Well, I want to actually change that to plus first because of a minus and a negative side by side. So now, if I look at this, x plus 18 equals 24, I can now subtract 18 to get 0. Whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other. So, x equals 24 minus 18 equals 6. Now, let's look at the second problem. Negative 36 plus y equals 17. Well, I know that says plus y, but guys, what is going to get me 0 here if I have a negative 36? The only thing that's going to get me 0 is a positive 36. So I'm going to add 36 to that, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So y equals 17 plus 36, well, 6 plus 7 is 13, carry 1, 3 plus 1 is 5. So y equals 53.
Okay, I have this. I told him that.
If you have any questions, make sure to write them down so that you can ask them in class. Have a good day.